You also mentioned the Central Bank of Bangladesh. That was the largest account takeover heist ever. And the sophistication really pointed to it as a nation state attack. And I think it was attributed to North Korea. Two particular areas of sophistication that I noticed was obfuscation of the data. Specifically, I'm an old banker, so I have to know about this. The SWIFT, it's called the SWIFT MT950 statement. It's a statement of activity. The MT950 statement from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York back to the to the Bank of Bangladesh was altered in the Bank of Bangladesh system. So it didn't show the disbursement of $81 million that was sent to the Philippines. So it kind of hid the transactions. I think the other interesting part of the sophistication was, how to make that $81 million a fungible asset. How do you turn that into cash? And this was done through a casino cash out scheme in the Philippines, which both of these were brilliant. They went for $1 billion, which was a little too much. I think that's how they got caught.
Yeah.
But I think that was interesting. The other one, a big wake-up call about the Sony attack, very significant. Sony systems were completely wiped. The thing that stood out in my mind was Sony couldn't produce financials for 6 months.
Wow.
I was in the FS-ISAC at the time. You can't have that happen in the financial industry. And that led to creation of a group called Sheltered Harbor, which was an initiative by the banking and brokerage industry to protect consumer assets in case systems were wiped. Almost an out-of-band backup, because if you're being attacked and you've got hot backup, the chances are your hot backup's going to be infected also.
Yeah, definitely.
So those were the three observations, I think. The DDoS attack, the Bank of Bangladesh, and Sony attack. By the way, there was an attack in a medium-sized French bank that didn't get a lot of play, but it was about a $70 or $75 million heist using business email compromise. That's a pretty big heist, too. So there were a couple big ones in that time frame.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of attacks, and I think some get more press and profile than others. And there was also other ones that I think you mentioned in other talks that you gave, the Windows XP incident in 2014, which is not really an attack, but it's an incident that,
Yeah, we had a lot of community banks that were joining FS-ISAC at the time, smaller institutions, because the regulators basically told them they had to join FS-ISAC. So that was big. We call that not to play down tsunamis, they're very serious events, but we call it the membership tsunami because we had 2,200 members that joined that year in 2014 and another couple thousand the next year. But basically, the community banks got together and figured out a way to address that lack of support, because XP was no longer going to be supported by Microsoft. It was the end of life for it that April that year. And they said, here's ways that we think we can address it and continue to support our ATM machines, which all mostly ran on XP.
Thank you, Bill. And we look forward to having you in Singapore physically when this whole situation gets more clarity and we can travel again.
Yeah, I look forward to coming back there. Thank you.